the Florida Writer Podcast, a discussion about writing and other things.
Hello, and welcome to another edition of the Florida Writer Podcast with your host, Alison Nissen. And today I am lucky enough to be with Natasha Miller. Natasha, could you give us a 60-second elevator pitch about who you are and what you write?
I will do that to my best ability. I am an entrepreneur. I've been on the Inc. 5000 list of fastest growing companies for 3 years in a row. And I have just written a memoir about my incredibly high inflection and low inflection point life that is giving me joy and life and stressing me out. I grew up in Des Moines, Iowa. I am a classically trained violinist and jazz vocalist. And the business that I mentioned before is an event and entertainment production company in San Francisco.
We are going to be talking about you and your writing journey. You've written a memoir. Tell me, what was the decision factor? What was that moment you said, I need to write my story?
I was at a conference in Vail with a bunch of 7- and 8-figure and 9-figure entrepreneurs. And I was there. We were all mentoring each other to scale and grow our company. So it did not go all the way to Vail and stay at the Four Seasons to discover the aha moment of needing to write my book. But that's what happened. I was sitting with one of the mentors whose name is Amber Ray, and she was listing off her credentials and what she could help mentor this small group of 8 people in our particular session. And it just snap clicked. This is the time. And, everyone's there for themselves. But when I started talking about my story, the room got really quiet. Everyone leaned in and they were willing to give up their time to talk about themselves and their needs for my benefit. And I knew then that there was something magical happening. And I really think I was at the right age and the right place of my life to start this process. Now, mind you, this was 4 years ago. And so I've really become the person that I need to be to actually release the book into the world. So I'm thankful for that time, that buffer of time.
Writing a memoir is a lot like writing anything, a piece of fiction, a short story, a play, because we really have to tap into something that's creative and not simply the memories that you have. You have to build the story. Tell me about building the story.
Well, I can tell you about building the story later in the process. The way I built it at the beginning was not as efficient, and it wasn't primed to be a great read at the very beginning because I didn't know better. And I think, you and your listeners know that when you write a memoir, typically people write in essay form. And that's fine. It's kind of like reporting on your life, or maybe it might be like reading a journal entry, but that can't really sustain a reader for an entire book in the way that I wanted it to read. So I wanted my book to read like an incredible work of fiction. Now, everything in it is true, but I wanted, to paint in the colors and the flavors and the smells and the scents and really take somebody on a ride. And I think I've accomplished that. I think I have because of how I enjoy now reading my own work, but what I'm hearing from other people. So, making sure that you are, showing and not telling was hard for me to wrap my head around at the beginning. Then I found myself faced with this incredible editor from HarperCollins, Jamie Blaine is his name. And he not only helped me craft, mold and sculpt what I'd written maybe 80,000 words. And I'm sure we chucked half of that at some point, which is fine. That's the path. But he not only helped me mold and sculpt the book, but he taught me in the process. And I think he understood that I was, a lifelong learner and voraciously attached to learning new skills. But I'm not a professional 8-hour-a-day or 12-hour-a-day writer. And I knew, coming from a family of writers, of professional writers, that I needed to get help. So just being able to take somebody on a ride that keeps their interest, right, the whole time and doesn't make them bored or confused it was a process and I learned how to do it. Now, could I replicate that on a second book by myself without the editor? A lot better than I could at first, but I think we all need editors.
No, of course we do.
It's our blind spot viewer.
Right. So Tom Brady, who I commented on in a recent podcast, has a coach. He went into retirement and now he is miraculously back out of retirement. We'll see when this podcast comes out if he's still in retirement or if he's back out, not in retirement. Doesn't matter. He has a coach and he's considered the GOAT, the greatest of all time. He's got a coach. Editors are coaches.
Yeah. I mean, I think maybe they can be both, but Jamie for me was a great editor. He was so involved in the story. And really, it was a weird situation to watch. He became me. He immersed himself in Des Moines, Iowa, where he grew up. He found out things about not only me, but my city that I was like, wow, how did you find that out? It's like a cross between a FBI agent looking for, information and maybe a private investigator. And we had so much fun doing that. So he has these funny little jokes about tiny little things about me growing up that almost you'd have to be there to know, but that's what a good editor does.
Wow. It sounds like we all need to find this person.
He's incredible.
As an entrepreneur turned writer, what type of skills does it take to really, if you're thinking about the entrepreneurial journey and, you're a self-starter, you have to plan all sorts of things and you run into those unexpected bumps and turns. Tell me about how being an entrepreneur helped you with your writing journey.
I am very self-motivated and disciplined, and I have laser focus, and that obviously is a great help when you're writing something. I think responding to prompts or knowing that you have something to turn into your editor or, your writing partner or your coach, whoever it is, on a regular cadence is incredibly helpful because you are then beholden to that time frame. And even though you're in charge, you want to do good. You want to make good on the promise of, showing this next draft or showing this change to the person that you're working with. And I think writing all by yourself, you certainly could do that, but I think writing with support is really important. But as the entrepreneur, I did have a huge thing happen to me actually toward the end of writing the book. And I'm not going to say what it is because I want you to read the book, but it's toward the end, something huge happened to me and my family that made me put down the writing for almost 6 months. And I needed that time to go through what was going on in my life and the family. It was just like a rocket came through and just disturbed everything, including I don't know if I thought I would be able to finish the book. At the moment, the drama was, oh, I'll never be able to finish this book. But, I got up and after I kind of recovered and we all recovered from this thing and finished it. And that thing is in it, which is really exciting. And the thing that I'm referencing is actually very positive, but at the time it was just startling.
Well, that is an interesting little twist there. So what advice would you give writers as they're thinking about, so that they sit down, they start writing their work, they have an editor of some sort that's able to help them shuffle through things and make everything unified. So what happens next? What's your next step?
After you have the manuscript really tight, is that what you're asking? What the next step is?
Yeah.
Yeah. First of all, you should be thinking about, even if no matter how you're published, traditional, hybrid, professional, or self, you need to start thinking about how you're going to market the book and what the reach is that you want, what your goals are, and how much money you have and how much time and who you can hire to help you. You need to be thinking about that from the start. Now, I thought about that a little bit. And marketing is exciting to me. It's not my job, but it's something that I'm good at and something that really kind of rings my bell. But if you start thinking about it at the time that the manuscript is done, it's too late. it doesn't mean that it's too late, you can't publish the book. But I think 4 to 6 months of a real plan in place is minimum. But if you haven't started by the time you start writing, then you're kind of doing yourself a disservice. So after that draft was done, then we were really putting our marketing plan in place. And for me, I have a 25-point marketing plan, and I've hired a small army of people to help me put it out there. And managing all those people is a challenge. And I even hired a production person who's really, she's a fractional CMO to help me, but I'm working a lot. So, and I want a big success with my book, right? Some people write nonfiction books as a business card, for their business. They want to give it away. There's so many reasons. But I want this to be at least a Wall Street Journal and USA Today bestseller, New York Times, God willing. That's very difficult, I know. And I want to impact as many people as I can. So I'm throwing everything I have at that. So the answer to your question is marketing, book cover design, and making sure that you have a I dot and T crosser production manager to help you through the rest of the process.
So 25-point marketing plan is really detailed. Let's just what are 3 of the ones that you could maybe share with our audience?
Yes. So I think a lot of authors, especially in the nonfiction sector, do. I'll show you this. I know we're not going to be showing video, but we do an influencer box, right? So it's a box that's all designed and beautiful, and then you have your book in it and some other things. But what you do with that box and what you do with your influencer program can make or break. So I have about 75 people that have answered the call. Will you help me promote this book? And when they say yes, not only do they get this box that I actually had a gold piece of jewelry made with my handwriting that says Relentless on it. It has some other goodies in there. But the request is you don't just get this box because you're going to read it and say, good job. You have to post on social media. You have to post on, do a live with me or a webinar or an interview. Like there's a give and take, right? So I have 75 people that have said yes, and they're receiving this box. And if you go to my social media, you'll see the outcome of that. People are doing incredible unboxing videos. They're doing reviews. They're doing styled shoots with the box. And then the really big goal is, of course, for them to inspire their community to get the book, but also write a review on Amazon as a verified buyer. So they have to buy the ebook for 99 cents so that they, can be a proven buyer. And nurturing and cultivating these people to do this is some work. And that's just one point of 25 that we're doing.
Wow, that's quite incredible. So in case anybody wanted to know what this box looks like, it's an actual box with the picture of the cover. So it's beautiful. And it's I would guess 2 inches thick. And inside comes, did you include a copy of the book as well?
Yes. So this is what's in it. A copy of the book, a copy of my memoir Sherpa workbook, where I teach people how to write and publish and market their book. It also comes with some things that have to do specifically with the book. So you wouldn't understand. When you open the box, you'll be like, why are there scratch and sniff popcorn stickers? Right? Or why is there a little bag of malted milk balls? Like, this doesn't make sense. I also put in 2 postcards that we had designed. The front of the postcard has the front of the book, and the back says, oh my God, you have to read this book. And it's for the recipient, and they're all stamped to write and send out to their own people. Also in the book, in the box, is this gold necklace with the word Relentless on it, which is, I just love it. You can't really see it, but here it is.
So I can see it, and it's a
like a dog tag
pendant that rectangular pendant that hangs down, and it just is it's a beautiful gold little piece of jewelry.
Yeah. And then there's a pen that says "Be Relentless," and it's kind of packed full of goodies. and people are loving receiving it. And it's really bright and colorful and beautiful. But the story, honestly, the first half of the book is pretty heart-wrenching. I have had people call me and email me and text saying, I can't put it down. I'm bawling my eyes out, or, something to that. It's amazing to get those responses. But once you give them something beside just a signed copy of the book, then they are attached, right? They're part of the process. And now they feel like they're part of your success, right? So I think it's an incredible thing to do, but the planning of how to facilitate this program and all the details that go into it is pretty intense.
I do love the idea of helping to create you champions that are willing to join you on your journey and celebrate with you all along the way. And simple little things like small gifts, like a scratch and sniff sticker, where it might not mean much to us right now, but when we can relate to it in the book, really does help create an attachment. And that attachment is what's going to create those you champions, Natasha champions. They're going to go out there and they're going to help you market the book. You shouldn't have to market alone. Marketing should be done in tandem with all of your partners. And so that is really a great idea. And, not everyone can afford to send out such an extravagant one, but that doesn't mean you couldn't take a book and you could sign it and you could add one or two little things.
Listen, I overdid it. I really did overdo it. And I think I sent out about $25,000 worth of these boxes. But I'm going to get a return on that investment in spades. And I already am seeing that. So other people can send out a book with a lovely letter, and that would, be enough, or something inspirational, or something cute and cheeky that has to do with the book. I think that's important, just make sure there's something in there that ties into that.
I agree. But yes, I think it could be done on a budget. And I think that's such a brilliant idea to be able to send things out that way. Natasha, how can people get in touch with you? How can they learn more about your book?
The website is officialnatashamiller.com, and there's a link or a tab for book. And it's better to actually look at the book. You can learn a lot about marketing from looking at the book sales page. I did not do this in a silo. I had a team of people that helped me with it. But if you buy a book from that page, you get all of these bonuses, which is another marketing tactic. And the bonuses are really valuable. They're not just throwaway, gimmicky, lead magnet types of things.
All right, Natasha Miller, are you ready to switch to our rapid fire questions?
Yeah, I'm excited. Let's do it.
What is the latest office purchase you have made?
Oh, goodness. My iPad, iPad and my stylus.
iPad and stylus. Awesome. It makes so much easier when you have a stylus, doesn't it?
It's amazing.
All right. Do you have a favorite pair of shoes?
I do. They are Sorel. They're like funky tennis shoes, and they're yellow. They're really funky and cool. If anyone wants to know what they are, send me an email and I'll send you a link.
All right. And do you have a stack of business cards on your desk?
No.
No. Oh my goodness.
No.
You keep them in someplace special?
I'm not getting business cards. And in fact, I just did something where I have this metal card where if you and I were meeting in person and you said, "Can I have your card?" I would just hold this metal card up. You would put your phone toward it and it would beam all my information to you.
Ooh, that is fancy.
We're in San Francisco Bay Area. We're really tech forward here.
That is true. Well, Natasha Miller, thank you so much for stopping by.
Thank you, Alison. It was a sincere pleasure, and I look forward to listening to more of your episodes.
You have been listening to another edition of the Florida Writer Podcast with your host, Alison Nissen. Alison out. Woo! We're all done.
Natasha Miller isn't your average CEO.
She sits the helm of Entire Productions, the go-to experience design, event, and entertainment production company in San Francisco, and has been on the Inc. 5000 list of fastest growing companies in America for 3 years in a row. Her new memoir, Relentless, is available at officialnatashamiller.com. For more information about the Florida Writers Association, visit us at floridawriters.org. And to discover information about our upcoming Florida Writers Con 2022, visit floridawriters.org. Until next time.